try to share that out. All right. We are live. We made it. We're
Woo!
back. Oh man, I took a week off to get
Did
my
you?
I did. I took a week off to get my kids going with their schooling, and let me tell you how grateful I was to have at least made one sound choice in a while now. But
We do
yeah,
what we can.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, welcome everybody. It is Tuesday night, is that right? I
Yes.
think it is. It's Tuesday night, if I'm not correct. And we are here on the Pandemic Proof Singer Series. I have an amazing guest tonight. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. Thanks for bearing with me while I took a week off. My name is Danielle Tucker. I'm a singer, vocal coach. I'm a member of the Mighty Untouchables band, and I am the creator of this show. And I soon will be giving you more and more information on a summit that I'll be hosting in November. So save the date for November 16th through 18th. If you are a singer or if you love a singer, you'll want to save those dates for them because this is going to be a summit especially dedicated to singers, giving them lots of amazing information on thriving in 2021. We're going to have an amazing lineup of speakers. So I hope you'll join us. But without further ado, please let me introduce my incredible guest here. This is Daneen Wilburn. She is from San Diego, and she's known for her trademark tone and gospel sound. That's one of the things that really sets her apart as a vocalist, as an artist. She grew up in a musical family. She became the lead singer of her family's band at 7, and then by the time she was 19, she was singing with some legendary acts at the Hollywood Bowl, no biggie. And she soon after married, started a family, stepped away from music for a while, but she returned triumphantly to the music scene 20 years later. She even enlisted those daughters as background singers, and she has opened for acts like Nash, Credence Clearwater Revival, the Pointer Sisters. And in 2018, she debuted her self titled album with producer Kamau Kenyatta. He obviously has an amazing eye for talent, knowing the roster of singers that he has worked with throughout the years. And he says about you, when Daneen sings, you will believe every word. That sounds pretty good. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you for
you.
being here.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you so much, and
Um,
I'm pleased to meet you. I We have a lot of mutual friends, and everyone sings your praises so much. So this is a really cool opportunity to see your face and talk with you.
well, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm doing something really dumb. I'm just making sure. Okay, I wanted to share the link,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure that the volume wasn't up and that there wasn't,
Okay. Yeah.
you know.
Just like we were saying before, I need to boop all the buttons and make
No, I
sure
know.
that.
Crazy. It's crazy. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having
yeah.
me here today.
So, tell me, let's start off with what you had going on pre-COVID, what was going on in your musical career, and what did you do during the transition?
Well, I the night a couple days before they did the official "we're closed, the whole world is closed" thing, I was at the Westgate Hotel performing there with some really great musicians in there. I can't remember the name of the room now. It's been so long since I've been there, but they're that the bar that they have there, and just having a great time. Had a lot of people there. Everybody was enjoying the music, and then a couple days later, it was like, "Oh, hey, everybody, we're the whole world is closed, so we'll let you know when we're back open." So before that happened, I was kind of gearing up for my next album. Just
Mm,
kind of collecting music and still just performing all over town. Doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of recording. I was up in LA quite a bit, um, doing background vocals and that good money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything was shut down. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what was the other part of the question? Something about what I've
Oh,
been doing.
just kind of how did you transition into life as we know it now?
I can't. I'd like to take credit for the transition, but I really can't. I just one of the things that churches have been doing, I sing in church a lot, and I know you
Mm-hmm.
do. They had to start pre-recording
Mm-hmm.
and doing things differently. And so immediately, I started getting calls from churches asking to do pre-record songs for worship for church. And so that kind of happened. And then I started getting some recording stuff if I could record off site kind of thing. So I can't say that I transitioned. I can just say that everything around me transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of went that way. So everything is just from a distance.
Yeah. Were you equipped to record at home before that, or did you
Not the
swiftly
way
get
that
up
I
to
should
speed?
be.
Yeah.
Not the way that I should be. That's one of the things that I am grateful for during this time, is that I did see quite a few deficiencies in my home situation, and so it makes you prepare. You like to have that foresight that you're prepared for everything, but I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned a lot. I learned quickly and got prepared pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to work, I had to. But the transition's been, it's actually been kind of fun, because there is kind of peace in doing studio work.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to gig and all that. But sometimes I don't feel like gig until 11 o'clock at night or midnight. So it's nice to show up and do a couple hours and get, that kind of thing. So it's just kind of evolved on its own all around me, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So, so you said that you kind of had an album in the works. You totally put the brakes on that, or is that still in play?
No, you still work, but your mind, I think it's the concentration for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because I was just kind of starting to, I had my notepads, and getting the songs together, and I just was reaching out to Kamau, say it's time for us to, you start to gear towards that way. And also I was still kind of riding high on if I can say that, on a couple of the songs from the album that were at the time getting a lot of radio play because they were in rotation and still are getting some good play too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just kind of nice, it was just kind of just promoting the songs that are on the album and just kind of trying to use that to lift to the next level. And then you just kind of get kind of stopped in your tracks. But I would say that it kind of focused my attention more to that because I had more time to do that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you just kind of start to realize that if everything else is shut down, well, then you really do have time to work on it and get it together. So
Yeah.
making that transition.
It definitely, yeah, it's really challenged all of us to pivot very quickly
Oh my goodness.
or not pivot at
Right.
all.
Or just say I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's interesting though. I think one of the things that I've really been thinking about a lot this week is sometimes it feels like as singers, musicians, our whole events industry really, it seems like almost like a punishment sometimes, like we were living foolishly and we should have known better
Mm.
and should have been prepared. But then I think, well, how do you prepare for the unexpected? How do you structure your career in this line of work to protect yourself and kind of have options for when the unimaginable strikes, or do you not think that way? Do you just roll with the punches? And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the words that I hate now is unprecedented. I'm tired of
Oh
the
gosh.
word.
Yeah.
Every commercial in these unprecedented times. It's like,
Yes.
stop it. I don't want to hear that word anymore. But in reality, what we're going through right now is unprecedented. I mean, this has never happened before. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just happening. And if it has happened, I mean, I know there's been things, but I mean, like in the modern world, and it's not just happening here with us, it's happening all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, to look back and go, why wasn't I prepared for this pandemic that hit the entire world in 2020 is, there's no way we could be prepared, for this or for how long it was going to last. Or, I mean, I remember when all this was happening, I just kept thinking, oh, in a couple of weeks, it's, everything's going to be fine. Because I
Definitely.
thought there's no way this can keep going on.
No
And
way.
and then my husband and I were talking about Disneyland. They said Disneyland closed. I was like, wait a minute, there's
Yeah.
no way
Things
Disneyland.
are bad now if they're
It's
going
really bad
closing
now.
Disney.
Disneyland is closed. And I remember, I don't know if this is true, but I think remember somebody said that by being closed, Disneyland, with all their parks, is losing $30 million a day. And I said, well, there's no way this is going to go on too long, because nobody's going to lose $30 million a day for very long. But here we are,
Mm-hmm.
right where we are. So, I think, yes, we could have been prepared a little more for some things, but I don't think that there's any way we could be prepared for what we're going through right now. So, but
Yeah.
one thing I am doing, though, I'm realizing that when you have the time, you do need to make use of it.
Mm-hmm.
Make use of that time.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's true. Yeah, and it's we may have chatted about this a little bit earlier, but it's that thing where we tell ourselves when we're living at a breakneck pace that, if I just had Wednesdays free, then I would do this and this. But then you get Sunday through Saturday free, and you still don't do the things. So I think it is a good lesson for us to kind of look at that, and we are really forced to face right now what are our priorities, and if there's something you really want to do, you're going to do it. And if you're not doing it, it's because you don't want to do it.
Oh my God.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's like the grow up kind of situations. Like you have to really grow up and face things when you
Yeah.
deal in a situation like this. And I think you're right. I mean, one of the things that because I am a little bit older, and I feel like, I've learned a lot, and I try to be conscious of what's happening around me. And so one of the things that I've tried to do is to learn to be grateful, in whatever the situation is. And I remember it's just when the pandemic hit, and my daughter was in San Francisco, and they were just about to shut down San Francisco, and then she drove home, and we were all here under one roof. And I remember just everyone being safe, and just the feeling, of knowing where all my family was, and that I knew that everybody was in my house. And so I started to just kind of think, even though everything is really nuts out there, you got everybody home, you got your family home. And we were having fun. I mean, like, you look outside and the world was just like going nuts, but inside the house, we'd be laughing and watching movies. And it's not, every moment is not like that. But in a general sense, just the peace of knowing that everyone's safe, and just learning to be in the moment and not to complain, and
Mhm.
because you know how we do. Oh, if I just had more time, if I just had this and I just had that. And now you have the time, and all that stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe something comes to mind. I'm thinking we've kind of been forced into this situation to slow down, especially, career wise. I mean, you really can't. I mean, you can go out to eat now, but there was even a time where you couldn't go out and eat. And then even our channels of connection online, social media are really negative, in a lot of ways. You turn on the TV, that's another channel of communication, lots and lots of negativity. I wonder if it isn't God or the universe just telling us to turn inward, turn inward to your family, stay connected with what is closest to you right this moment. Stop trying to look outside of, the most important sphere of influence that you have. You know, we're trying so hard to do this, like, let's normalize again. That's the word I'm not liking right now. Just new normal.
Normalize. It's another word we can add. Unprecedented and normalize. We don't like that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think it can be an uncomfortable thing to, you know, spend so much time, you know, with yourself, with your family. But, you know, it really may be one of those areas that we just need to be there in that place the most right now.
Well, they're your family. I mean, I don't know. You know, what is that? I can't remember the saying, but it's something like you can't choose your family, you know, that
Right.
they're your family, you know. But no, I do. I mean, I'm very you know, a spiritual, you know, not to, you know, act like I'm, you know, holier than thou or anything like that. But I always try to see things, you know, from a standpoint of, is there a bigger message that we should
Yeah.
be getting? Is there a lesson? Because I believe that there's lessons in everything, the
Yes.
good, the bad, the ugly. And if people can't see that there's a message in this, it's kind of like when, you know, people pass away and then we you know, we say, you know, make sure you tell your loved ones, you know, that you love them, that you care about them. That's a lesson, you know what I mean? And I know we say it a lot and we say it, you know, every time someone passes away, for the most part, someone will say it, but it's still true, you
Yeah.
know, and there's still lessons in all those things. And I think I would feel kind of sorry for someone that would be going through all the stuff that we're going through right now and not realizing that there is something to be learned in all of this, even if it's just that there are some things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe that's the lesson. You know, we can't,
Mhm.
we have absolutely no control. And even though there's and there's a particular helpless feeling from time to time in the middle of all this. I remember just seeing all the businesses going down. I remember one day I just drove past the mall and everybody being closed and a lot of these people that have these businesses, I know them, you know, because they're in my
Mhm.
neighborhoods. And I know that, you know, how much they struggle, some of the restaurants that we go to. And I think, oh my God, you know, how are they going to make it? And just this sadness, you know, sometimes. So sometimes you feel that helplessness. But
Mhm.
I think there's even a lesson in that, that you have to realize that there are times where you have to just put your trust in God or, you know, or your faith, whatever, you know, your particular faith
Yeah.
may be, and just realize that there are some things that are beyond us, you
Mhm.
know. And even though you feel helpless, for me, excuse me, it helps me to know that the things that I can control, that I can work on, you work on them and you do what you can. And then the rest, my mom always said, she said, do what you can and let God do the rest. That's what my mom always says to me. And I
Yeah.
remember that all the time because that's true. You have to, some things are just out of our control.
Yeah. Those are very powerful words.
Mm,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
That's that's comforting to hear. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, family is of great importance to you. We mentioned earlier that when you decided to have a family, you were in the midst of your professional career and you decided to step away. What was that like for you, and what went into that decision?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I don't know that I purposely decided. It just kind of it developed that it wasn't possible. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Not for me to be able to do what I was trying to do with my, you know, with my daughter, and I was still it just it wasn't working. And so what was that like? I think at the moment I kind of thought that this will just be for a short time, you know, and then, you know, I'll still be able to, you know, start doing this and doing that. And I did try from time to time to come out. I remember I did some recording along the way when my oldest daughter was probably like 3 or 4, and had made her some really good songs. Actually, I still have them. I think I might pull them out for the next album, um, but you know how it is. It's hard to complete an album when you're all in and you've got all, you know what I mean? Just when the timing is right. It's just to complete something. It's hard when you're able, you know. So when you're raising your family and all those things, it just didn't happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at a certain point, I just stopped even thinking about it and just decided that, you know, whatever else I was going to do with my life, it wasn't going to be that in a professional way. And but I still sang at my church, and I still sang with my girls. They've been singing with me since they were on my knee.
Hmm.
And so that was always good, but it was never enough. You know what I mean? I could always
Yeah.
just feel it in my gut, and every time I would hear like a beautiful album, or something that I would have wanted to do, to the type of album I would have wanted to make, would make you almost want to cry because you would think like, oh, that's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so that was tough. There were years where I didn't think about it at all, and then there were years when I would think about it a lot, like when you see a music show or something like that.
Hmm.
So but it was always still there that I wanted to do it, and it and never left. No matter how much I tried to put it to the back of my mind, it would always somehow at the most inopportune times just just rear its head again. So yeah.
Yeah.
Tough.
I've talked with so many other singers that have kind of alluded to the same thing, whether it was parenthood or other circumstances that maybe they were thinking, I need to go do something else, or this isn't working out type thing. But there is something about the passion for music or the love of music, and that it doesn't go away. I mean, you can run,
Mm-mm,
but you can't hide from it. It
mm-mm.
just it's
It's
always
in
there.
your gut, it's in your soul. It doesn't go away. And I
Hmm.
know you want it to go away, because you just think if it could just die, I could just live. But when it's still there,
Hmm. Yeah.
so I feel particularly blessed that, because I know a lot of people step away from music and
Hmm.
arts and acting to raise from. A lot of famous actors have done it. They made a couple movies and had great success and then stepped away. But not a lot come back.
Yeah.
And that's, that part it seems like once they make the decision to step away, they just step away.
Hmm.
But very rarely do you see somebody literally come back,
Yeah.
and kind of dig it out from the ground up. And that was one of the reasons why I just felt like, oh, I don't know that this is ever a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it's comforting to know that music is one of those things that um if you set it down for whatever reason, it will be there
Mm,
waiting for you. It may not look the same as it did
mm.
when you left,
So funny.
um, but it's still coming from the same place of origination, and so whether that's making that choice in parenthood or being in um, a situation that is beyond your control, like a pandemic that says you're putting music down right now for a while. Just I think we all have to remind ourselves that it hasn't gone away. It's just it's looking different right now, and at some point we'll have a new iteration of it as well.
Absolutely. And it still hasn't gone away now. I mean, the world cannot live without music.
Hmm.
That you just can't. Just the same as we can't individually. The world needs music. Music is so healing.
Hmm.
And, it's one of the sad parts about, the pandemic is that I feel like there'd be more healing if there'd be more, if there were more ways for people to enjoy arts.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about church. And I know I understand that, how things have to be shut down and everything, but church is also a healing thing.
Yes.
People heal from the inside out, and that includes, in a spiritual way. So it's, so shutting off all of the things that connect to our natural healing, it makes it harder for the physical healing. That's on, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just, that all those things are part of what make us well,
Yeah.
happy and joy, being joyful and not depressed and all those things, they're part of healing too, and I think that sometimes it's just hard. I know we need to find a way to incorporate those things back in.
Yeah. We definitely do. We definitely do.
Um,
Before we move away from the motherhood and music topic, um, I have so many friends who are singers who have made every choice imaginable when it comes to am I going to be a mom, am I not going to be a mom, what will this mean for my career, what will that look like, some that do to kind of take a hiatus to raise their family, return, not return. I have come to believe with my own experience as, being a mother in this business is that I just don't believe there is any right question. I don't think you can get this one wrong because you obviously made a choice. You have a lovely, loving, wonderful family. And here you are back again doing, what you love to do. I, in turn, made a different choice. I stayed in it. I stayed very tightly connected to it, which had its consequences too. I tried to juggle many, many, many things like pumping on a 10-minute
Oh,
break off stage and things of that
it's
nature.
hard.
It was hard, but it wasn't wrong. It wasn't wrong.
Absolutely not.
Just
Absolutely not. Everybody has to make the decision that's best for them, and everybody has a different situation. One of the other things that was a part of my situation is that my husband traveled a lot,
mm-hmm.
government contractor, so he was always on the road, and so that created another, because if you're going to be a mom, and it really is great when you have a spouse there or a partner there, or help, you know what I mean, whether it's a family member or mom or whatever. I know a lot of single moms too that are in the music industry. I know you do too. A lot of good friends of mine are single moms in the music industry. They're by themselves, and they still make it work. So I think it really, everybody's situation is different, and I don't, everybody has to do what's best for them. And
Yeah.
if it works for you, you go ahead and do it.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
and no, I totally support that.
Yeah. Can't
Yeah.
get that one wrong.
No, you can't. I mean, because it's whatever works for you. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people, we're speaking of motherhood. There are a lot of people that choose not to work, when they're a mom, you know what I mean? And then there are other people that do work, and sometimes the dad will stay home, or, there's all these different situations. And, I think as women trying to still be artists, that art is such a part of us. We should be allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have to shut it down. I chose to do that, but
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be like, well, you have to. There wasn't like anybody saying you
Should.
got to
Yeah.
shut it down. You just
Yeah.
can't do it. Then I would have definitely done it. Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I mean. But we shouldn't be. I don't think we should feel that we can't put our art out into the world, or that it's never going to happen because of that. Because
Mhm.
God knew that we were going to have kids and have
Mhm.
families, and he still gave us that art. He still gave us that gift. So he couldn't have wanted us to have to choose. That's just how I feel about it. And I don't think we have to. So no. So I mean, bravo for you, girl. Pumping on your 10-minute break. Good Lord.
We made it work.
You made it work. And guess what? Your kids are still alive. Did they die?
Nope.
They survived. They got their milk,
Yep.
everything. So
They're
that,
loud
yeah,
and proud.
man, it's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. I know. I think it's just so hard because you face so many of those
Mm.
shoulds, especially, when it comes to like parenting choices. And I just, you know, I don't know if you feel this way, but for me, having daughters, it's just I want them to see me. I want them to see who I
Mm.
really am and who what things are really a part of me because I want them to know what's possible for them and they don't have to be anything like me, but I want them to know that whatever choice they make, it's
That's so
okay.
important. I have to tell you, that's been one of the most incredibly rewarding things about being in music and getting back, them being able to see me. I
Hmm.
mean, they're so proud of me.
Yeah.
They really are. And and I don't know, I didn't know what that was going to feel like, or if that was a thing, you know what I mean? Because I don't think you really think in terms of you want your kids to be proud of you. You know what I mean? It's always like
Right.
the parents are proud of the kids. But man, I mean, when I was in the studio and they were in there and they were listening to the album, I mean, I could just see on their faces, they're just like, that's my mom. That's my mom. That's your mom. That's my mom.
Yeah.
They're just so, but that was something for me, especially having daughters, letting them know that you can achieve whatever, even if time passes.
Hmm.
You never stop because you can achieve great things. And so I have to say, I feel like it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
for them to see, you
Yeah.
know. And I know that's got to be the same thing with your daughters. I mean, my mom's a rock star, you know what I'm saying? And that's a really cool thing for girls nowadays to see. You can do everything. You can do anything you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom goals.
Mom goals.
So, what was the thing that made you decide to make a comeback?
Well, my brother, I don't know if you know my brother. He's a musician here in San Diego too. He knows Leonard really well. He knows everybody.
Okay.
Micah Whitley, do you know
Oh,
him?
yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my
I
brother.
did not put those pieces together.
Really? Yeah, that's my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he had a gig. This is, gosh, it was probably like 2013 at this place called Bing Crosby's. Do you remember Bing Crosby's?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out of business now, but so he had a gig there on Sunday afternoons, and so he just called me up and he said, "Hey, why don't you start doing this gig with me?" And it was a jazz gig, and I was singing gospel and everything, and I like jazz, and we grew up, we sang everything,
Yeah.
but not in a performance kind of a way. So the whole genre was different for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such a cool thing because I always love all the Nat King Cole songs and all the old jazz. I've always loved that, but never had the opportunity to sing it. So I was like, "Well, what do you mean you want me to do?" He said, "Well, just come out, it was Sunday night, and and then just sing a couple songs." And so, okay, so I came out and I started singing with him, and it actually was really great. And so I started coming back every night, every Sunday night when he did the gig, and eventually we had the place just so packed out. I mean, it was so cool.
Yeah.
And so that kind of got me into the thing, and I got to know people because the San Diego community, of musicians, I didn't know anybody
Mm-hmm.
except for the ones that kind of played at churches too. And
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't know they were doing the secular thing too. So it was a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got started, and then kind of went from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so eventually you were like, I'm gonna make an album. And
Oh,
which
well,
is quite
it wasn't exactly the next step. No, after that, my brother and I, we played together for a while. And then I got an opportunity to do the gig. He stopped doing it because he had was something else was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had an opportunity to do the gig on my own. It wasn't at Bing Crosby's anymore. We had moved over to the Four Point Sheraton over there. And so I started doing my own kind of thing, which was super scary. And another friend of mine, his name was Brandon Primus, who was a saxophone player from New
Mm-hmm.
York. He and I would do the gig together, and we started doing shows together. He would do his own shows, and I would be a special guest. And then we were playing at a place called 98 Bottles. Do you remember that
Mm-hmm.
downtown?
Yeah.
We would do shows there. And so one night he called me up and he said, "Hey, you need to do your own show." And I was like, "Why do I need to do my own show, man? I'm doing your show. Fine with me." He says, "No, you need to do your own show." He said, "No, I'll be your special guest. And I just thought, "Oh, is this it? Is this the moment, when I have to decide, do you really want to do this, or you just, you said you want to do this, you can't be afraid." But I was afraid. And I have to tell you, the night before the show, I'm not gonna cry. I am not gonna cry.
I'm not crying.
Look, I'm not crying, you're crying. He sent me the quote from Marianne Williamson. I don't want to get it wrong. And it's a real famous quote that she makes about, you don't serve the world by playing small,
Yeah.
by, trying to not, "Oh, I don't want to be conceited," or I'm paraphrasing it. She said, "Your fear is not, that you'll fail. Your fear is probably that you'll be more successful than
Yes.
you ever dreamed you could be."
Yeah.
Said, "But you can't not do it." I'm totally paraphrasing this because I can't remember, but I'm just giving you the meaning. "But you
Yeah.
can't not do this because this is a gift God gave you. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can't play small and try to pretend like, oh, but I don't want people to think this." You just have to do what God gave you to do." Said, "And so you need to do your thing." And the show was sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I got out there, and by the time I hit the stage, I was ready to go. And from that point on, I realized that, okay, this is the path, and you better buckle in and be ready, because because you're on the road now. And that was kind of the moment that set the stage for the rest that came.
Oh man. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that so much. I wonder sometimes, I realize that there are artists out there who have, a real healthy confidence and ego, which is fine. But, there I think the majority of us have this thing that is like, what in the world makes me think that I can have my own show and my own band
Right.
and, headline, like, what makes me think that 100 people want to stand in a room and listen to me? What is the thing that bridges that fear to
That's good.
what is it?
That's good. No, it's so true. I mean, you think to yourself and you're like, are people really coming to my show? Or am I like, did I dream this or something? But then when you hit the stage, when something, that gift inside you, or, I mean, not in a conceited way.
Mhm.
We do have to fight that. That one
Yeah.
Caesar that had a guy that just walked around with him, just whispering in his ear, said, "You're just a man. You're just a man. You're just a man." That was the guy's job, just to
Mhm.
walk around and whisper to him, "You're just a man," while everybody bows to him, or whatever. So you do have to keep that ego in check. But you're
Yeah.
right. There's something you do wonder. So is this God? Is this,
Mhm.
is it ego? Is it? And then you think maybe you need a little bit of that. Maybe all ego is not bad. Maybe,
Right. Yes.
maybe you need that in order to be able to do what you do.
Yeah.
And but I think you're right. But also that fear of that you're going to get on stage and no one's going to like what you're singing, and just the psychological stuff that you have to overcome as well.
Yeah.
So that when he sent me I mean, it was like right on time.
Yeah.
And so you do have to, man, you have to have a healthy dose of uh, sane saneness and balance and all of those things to really make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so true. I know.
Mhm.
I think it's like, maybe it is just that like small knowing that God plants in you that just kind of gets stoked just enough to push you over the edge, to do
It's
these
something.
ridiculous things.
It's something. I mean, it has
Yeah.
to be. It has to be. I
Mhm.
remember when I my when the show that Darrell sang at,
Yeah.
at the Music Box. I
Mhm.
mean, I remember the first time I went to the Music Box, thinking, "Oh, what is this beautiful place?" And then when they said, "Well, we want you to do your album release here," I kind of laughed a little bit, and I said, "Wait a minute, girl, get yourself together." The music. I was like, the Music Box. I don't know if we can. That's a lot of people, and I don't know. Just you instantly start. But I think back now to that night, and Darrell performing and him opening. He was amazing. Darrell, if you are listening, or if you listen later, you were amazing. He was just so. The whole night was just wonderful. But looking back now at that night and the pictures and all the people, and I just think, just like what you said, what made me think that could happen? Wow, why wasn't I? Did that actually happen? How did that happen? But it's there's something there, and thank God for it.
Yeah.
Because thank God for it. We see Patti LaBelle, she's on stage and she does like that, throws the sweat off of her cheeks to the audience, and I thank God for that. I thank God for that diva, because she's given us something that we need.
Mhm.
She's inspiring us, and if it weren't for that, she might not be able to get on that stage and do what she has to do. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's a long way of saying I agree.
Yeah. I think, I think back to I was trying to be a professional singer from a pretty young age, but there was a definite shift in time where I really, started getting serious. And I honestly chalk a lot of it up to just being naive and not knowing any better. Not being so entrenched like in the music community, so I didn't
Mm,
have that self-conscious awareness of like, what is so and so going to think if I want to do something like this. There was nobody for me to really bounce any ideas off of, so
mm.
I had an idea that I wanted to do this thing, and I just started making a lot of calls, not knowing any better for what I was doing. And
Wow.
I'm thankful for that, because now, after having been in this business for so many years, I am probably much more fearful now.
Is that like how little kids can learn how to speak all these languages when they're little?
Yeah, right.
Because they
Yeah.
don't realize that it's hard. What
No.
is that, like hard or something? They just start speaking all the, and then it gets to be us and we're like, oh, that's so hard. I can't do that. But then, these little kids, 10, 12 years old are speaking 3 and 4 languages. It's just, oh, I can learn that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
You're
so
too
true.
smart now. You got too grown up.
I know. I want to go back.
Yes, me
Yeah. Or,
too.
maybe it is just one of those things that you just got to remind yourself that, when you do find yourself kind of buried in that self-doubt, or,
Mm.
the voices swirling of like, what'll everybody say? Or you're getting very calculated about everything you do, is just to remember that it is just layers of stuff. It's just layers of stuff. They were there when I was doing this earlier. I just had blinders to them at the time. And I think you can put those blinders back on.
Yes, you can. Do
Yeah.
we want to? Yes, I guess a little bit.
I
But
don't know. Sure. There
now,
are there are things I wouldn't go back and do. I can
right, I
say
hear
that for
you. I
sure.
hear you there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to know, speaking of young singers, you raised up 2 musical daughters. What was your household like? What were some of your habits as a family that incorporated music into your life?
Oh, well, this is hilarious. So what I started doing when my kids were young, and every time they had a birthday, I would like, this is so stupid. I would dress up in like some weird hat or something, and I would come in their room with a guitar, and I would say, "Ooh, I just want to wish you a happy birthday, baby." And it would always be like at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then all the rest of the my other daughter would come, my husband would come in there, and they'd all stand there and laugh at me. And so I started doing that for each of them every year. But what happened is, as they got older, we started doing it together for the person that had the birthday.
Mhm.
So, and in fact, my youngest daughter, she just turned 23 yesterday. So we did her birthday thing together. So with my oldest daughter, who's 28 now, this is how long this has been going on.
Oh my gosh.
And now my husband's involved, and my son's involved, and my son-in-law is here, so he got involved yesterday. So we do some kind of performance. We just dance, we dress up in costumes. And a couple years ago for my birthday, my oldest daughter dressed up as me, and my youngest daughter
Uh-huh.
dressed up as Kamau.
Uh-huh.
And so she sat at the piano and they were singing a song for me and everything. So it's just funny, that it's always music related, and
Mhm.
we're always singing together for the one person that has a birthday. And it's just taken on such a life of its own. I mean,
Mhm.
some years I'm like, what are we doing for, so and so's birthday tomorrow? We're like, I don't know, mommy, how are we going to top last year? But and so people will be texting each other in the middle of the night. I'll get up in the middle of the night. There'll be a text. I have an idea, mommy. So we dress up in costumes and it's a whole show. And so, yeah, but I mean, but music has been such a part of our lives too, because they're all their uncles and,
Mhm.
aunts and even their grandparents are all, singers and musicians. So it's such second nature for them, the
Mhm.
music part of it.
Yeah, that's so fascinating to me, because my family was not musical. My grandmother was a professional singer, but I lived across the country from her. So she was very encouraging to me, but I didn't have that, influence in my life. Um so I don't know, I guess it was just something I personally wanted to do. But now that I have daughters, I'm not sure how you nurture that, how you kind of influence that. I want them to be whoever they want to be,
Mhm.
but I would like to provide them with the opportunity to kind of, explore that area. But you know, someone will say like, "Oh, you should let your mommy give you singing lessons." Well, I already know how to sing, you know.
And maybe they do.
They do, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, so much of the music, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go.
But so much of the music that my kids got, they got just from hearing me sing and from
Yeah.
singing with me. You know what I mean? So it wasn't necessarily that they took voice lessons. They did take music lessons. You
Hmm.
know, they all took guitar lessons, violin lessons, whatever, you know, at the time that was happening. So that part I did want them. I wanted them to have like the foundational stuff of music, even if they didn't want
Hmm.
to, because I knew the power of music and that at some point, you know, they're going to like music, you know. So
Yeah.
and of course I was right. You know, so but they have that music now. Now my oldest daughter plays guitar and my youngest daughter plays violin, and they both sing. And so but they're so happy that they can sing and do music. They love it.
Mhm.
You know, they love that they have the ability, even if they're not doing it as a career, the fact that they can be involved in music and know what's happening when other musicians are playing, and then they also know a lot of the people in the music community as well, because you know they sing too. So it's the whole musical experience has been great, really, really great
Yeah.
for them.
I love it. You
Yeah.
sound like you have a really cool family.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. We do.
Yeah.
We're very blessed.
Yeah, speaking of our communities too, I want to definitely take a moment to say hello and do some shout outs to everybody who
Oh,
is joining us
cool.
tonight.
Check my
I'm
phone.
trying to get better about that. We've got Janet Moore Walters.
Oh yes, that's my girl.
Yeah. My wonderful husband, Chuck Tucker, is out there watching.
Nice.
And oh, you have a Tucker in your family too, Patricia Wilburn Tucker?
I don't know.
No?
I don't
Oh.
know. Do I know you, Patricia? Hey, girl, we might be some kin.
Yeah. Maybe this is how we are jointly connected, you and
Maybe.
I.
It could be. It
It's
could
the
be.
Wilburn Tucker family.
Yeah.
Um, Claude Bell,
Oh, hey, yeah. I know Claude.
Lynn Whitley.
Oh, that's my aunt. Hi, Aunt Lynn. She's in the Philippines.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yes.
And um, I wonder how this name is pronounced. Mo- is it Marcy? Is it
Marseille. Is it
Marseille? Oh, yes.
Marry? Yes. Hey, Marseille. She's so
Yeah.
sweet. She is a friend of Kamau's. He teaches music to her son, who is a wonderfully talented musician. And she is a great supporter of the music community. She comes to shows, she
Mm.
buys albums, she just works so hard to support. I mean, if somebody's doing a live stream, she's on there. You know, she loves the music and she
Hmm.
just such a great supporter. So I'm glad she's on and glad to
That's
give her
awesome.
a shout out. It is. Yeah.
Thank you, Marseille, and I love that name too.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
beautiful.
Chuck Phillips, hey Chuck Phillips, and David Buck and Brian Bannock is out there.
Hey,
So thank you.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
great musicians. Yeah.
I know, I love our San Diego
I
community.
do too. You know, it's so great that
Mhm.
and I love that everybody's close. I mean, when I first came in, you know, sometimes you do feel like you like things might be a little cliquish,
Oh
but I
yeah.
think but you have to just really become a part of the community. You know what I mean? You have to cultivate those relationships,
Hmm.
because I always felt like everybody was pretty open. I mean, I
Hmm.
know that I've heard of people say that, you know, there were conflicts here and there, but I never really experienced that.
Yeah.
I've had a good experience. I mean, I don't know what yours has been like, but mine has been very positive.
Yep. Mine has been very positive too. I can definitely say that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so what what do you think this next year is gonna look like for you, or what do you want it to look like?
Um, okay, so give me about 5 seconds to think. What's it gonna look like? And we're talking 2021.
Yeah, let's just say all the stars aligned and the
Let's say that.
world was your oyster.
Oh, oh God. Well, this is one of the things that I'm doing during this time is really being thoughtful about how to go forward in a really positive way
Mhm.
and realizing that I'm ready to, you know, start my next album, but that I want to make sure that since we have the downtime, that things are organized and that things are done right. You know, in a perfect world in 2021, oh boy. Oh
Mhm.
boy. I think I'd probably be in the studio doing the live recording probably April in a
Mm-hmm.
perfect. No,
Doing
not
a
really.
live recording, like
Yeah.
recording a live
Well, no,
album.
no, no. We
Oh,
just we just recorded the album
I
live.
got you. Hmm.
Yeah, in a perfect world, 2021. You know what? And maybe hold on, let me scratch that.
Hmm.
I think I would be happy right now if things are just open again.
Hmm.
And if people are able to have bands at weddings, and I guess what I want is for the community at large, not necessarily for me per se, because I feel like what I want to do, I could do even now. You know what I mean? I really could start, we could get songs together, be ready, and I'll do lots of things that would, get us to that point. But I really want more than that. I want music to be available. I
Hmm.
want people to be able to dance again. So I guess if the stars aligned and everything was back, we'd be back. I'd be back at the Westgate like I was the night before everything shut down. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like this is the continuation. It's like, of what happened. And, but then again, I think sometimes things like this happen so that we can change. Maybe we got a little comfortable with that. Maybe it's time to do things a little bit differently. And I
Hmm.
really don't know what that looks like, but but I'm hopeful that everybody that wants to work can work again, that people are able to support their families, that people that came out with albums, that happened to come out during this time are able to, maybe recoup some of the money that they,
Hmm.
lost because the album just happened to come out at an inopportune time. And I don't know, maybe it's an Alice in Wonderland kind of stuff I'm wanting, but
Yeah, I think it's great.
I want world. What is it? The beauty queens always say world peace. I want
Yeah.
world peace in a perfect world in 2020. What do you think? What do you think? What do you 2021?
Oh gosh, you know what? I think everything you're asking for is totally reasonable, and I want that for you too. Um, you know what I think I really want? What really makes me restless is the limitations. I
Mm,
If I'm not going to succeed at something or have an opportunity, I want it to be because I blew it, not because someone was telling me I couldn't do this or that. I really resent that. And having these, restrictions placed upon us, that we, can't go do this or that, or we can't pursue this or that. I'm very restless with that. I really
mm,
struggle with that. And I just kind of, I want those things lifted off of us. I'll feel a lot better, when if I'm going to be a failure, it's going to be on my terms.
Psychologically, just knowing that I,
Yeah,
I can do this, but when someone's telling you you can't, I don't know. It does it does something to you.
it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like that too
feel some
much.
kind of way about that.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, it's been such a pleasure talking with you.
Oh,
I really appreciate it, and just really, acknowledge you for becoming the person that you have in the community. I know that you're so loved and valued, and I'm grateful that you've just had the courage to be the artist that you are and take those steps forward. And I can't wait to see you and your new album in 2021, and
oh.
we'll
Well, I don't
see.
know if the album will be out in 2021, but hopefully it'll be recorded by then. That's the
Yeah,
plan, you know.
get it underway. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you again.
Oh, thank
Hopefully
you
we'll
for
get to
having
meet in
me.
person
I know,
sometime
and you
soon.
too. You know what I mean? I know everybody knows, but that you're an extremely talented artist yourself, and a mom, and a vocal coach. I might need to call you because I need to get into my head voice. Something I got a blockage. Something's happening. But you're extremely talented yourself, and thank you for what you do, and like for doing this and for giving us an opportunity to even just talk about what's happening.
Yeah.
It's very helpful, just to be able to express what we're all kind of feeling. And I think it's helpful to the people that maybe even aren't musicians that are just listening,
Yeah.
to know, we want to do our part in the world to bring healing and beauty. And God knows we can't have a world with no art. We just can't, so
Mm.
we got to find a way to make that happen,
Yeah,
because that's a big part of how everybody gets better. I really believe that.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for that.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it. Where can people check you out that don't already know you? Where would you like me to send them to see your
Oh,
work?
you can send them to my website. They can be see or here on Facebook. I have a music page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Daneen Wilburn, and I'm sure it's in the thing, Janine Wilburn,
Mhm.
on music, Daneen Wilburn Music.
Okay.
And my website is DaneenWilburn.com.
Awesome.
DaneenWilburn.com. And yeah, and they can come and they can also get if they want to purchase the album, you can purchase the album. The album, you can stream it on all the streaming platforms. It's available Spotify, iTunes, the whole list. And but if you actually want a physical CD, you can get those too on my website. And yeah, so that's where I am. I'm everywhere, and glad to be here.
Wonderful. Cool. I will definitely make sure that I link all that up so that everybody
Yeah.
knows. And just a reminder to save the date for November 16th through 18th. This is for singers. I'll be hosting the Pandemic Proof Singer Summit. It's going to be an awesome time. There's going to be some awesome speakers. If that
Nice.
sounds like something you might be interested in, just go to my Facebook page, like it. You'll get all the updates from there, or you can go to my website danielletucker.com and sign up on my newsletter, and you'll get all the updates there as well. But for now, I guess we'll say goodbye until I get to see
Oh,
you in person.
yes, it was so nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. This has been all kinds of fun.
Thanks for taking the time.
All right, lady.
All right, see you soon.
You too.
Good
Bye
night. Good
bye.
night, everybody.
Night, everybody.